Ladies and gentlemen, gamers, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about Relic's new roadmap that they just dropped on all socials entitled The Road Ahead of Us. This is about a one-page article and then a roadmap at the bottom. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to read through everything and then discuss kind of my thoughts on the roadmap at the end. So let's take it from the top and let's see what Relic has in store for the game. As you can imagine, last week has been a difficult week for our team, and we want to thank players for their support and positive messages as we took a few days to regroup. Today we want to address a highly discussed topic in our community. What's next for Company of Heroes 3? As mentioned in the message posted to Relic's Twitter, Relic and Sega are fully committed to supporting Company of Heroes 3 on PC and console. We know there are areas of the game not meeting your or our expectations, and we will continue to iterate, improve, and communicate with you as we take on your feedback and plan future updates. Please understand that following this week's studio events, we are still adapting and organizing, and our goal is to answer some of your questions on our upcoming priorities and game updates as best as we can. So what's next for Company of Heroes 3? Company of Heroes 3 Console Edition release. Console Edition is releasing tomorrow, and we're excited to welcome new players to our community. A welcoming, supportive, and growing community will allow us to continue supporting our game for years to come. So shout out to the console players. I know there's quite a bit of you guys subscribed to the channel. Thank you guys for subscribing ahead of console release. I really am excited for the console community because there aren't many strategy games on consoles, and I never thought that Company of Heroes would ever be designed for console because it's a very micro-intensive game compared to something like Command and Conquer that has been on console and was very good on console. It's a much more macro-oriented game, right? You're building big armies and you're attacking and defending with large groups. Whereas Company of Heroes, there are several units and squads engaging in intensive battles that are highly microed, right? They're very complicated little actions taking place all over the map. So I never thought this would come to console, but I'm super excited for the console community, especially for team game players. People queuing up with friends, that's awesome. So I'm really looking forward to seeing matches and games taking place on console, and I'm thinking about building a Discord right now, so let me know, any console players out there, if you would like an entire channel dedicated to the console community, a chat, voice chats, a metagame forum. I would love to provide that for you guys if you want a place to interact and engage with other teammates. So let me know, but let's continue. Brass Leopard PC Update 1.1.5. This update is on target to release on June 6 and will include a new 3v3 co-op map. Changes to gameplay, including planes and loiters, quality of life improvements, audio improvements, mod tool improvements, and several bug fixes. You can check out our preview livestream here. We will be posting patch notes and more robust overview closer to the release. So June 6th, I believe, is... Oh, okay. So it's Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday, not this week, but next week, Tuesday. All right, so that's not too far away. It's about a week away. That's awesome. Okay, so that's going to be really good, and we'll take a look at exactly what's coming in the roadmap below. Emerald Bear PC Update 1.2.0. The Emerald Bear PC Update following Brass Leopard is in its alpha stage and is planned for release in July. We will share more details about its contents once we complete our final testing. This patch is too far along in development to change any of its priorities. However, we are already reassessing priorities for subsequent updates. Once everything is locked in, we'll share its release date and give you a sneak peek at what's coming. Based on community feedback, we've dropped Operation from our update names to reduce any confusion about their size or scope. That's pretty funny. But they were trying to be cute with this little term, Operation. It's not a big deal, whatever. But yeah, I get it. So, okay, continuing here, communications cadence. We intend to adhere to a more regular schedule of communications to ensure our players are kept up to date on all the latest news and updates. So, bi-weekly wire reports starting June 9th. These blog posts will aggregate news about the game along with the best player content we're seeing. It will include answers to frequently asked questions and occasional insights from our developers. Bi-weekly live streams starting June 15th showcases play sessions, Q&As with the dev team, and more. Be sure to let our team know what you think of our future updates, the sneak peeks, the before and afters we've showcased, and our live stream previews from Brass Leopard. If you like these type of previews, we'll aim to have more in the future. Okay, so that's great to see that we have the Brass Leopard coming in a week. We have Emerald Bear coming in July, so roughly 4 to 6 weeks later. And then we have a communications cadence. We have bi-weekly updates of interaction with Relic, where they're going to be updating the community on several things through blog posts, with their wire reports, or live streams. So this is great to see. I love the fact that it looks like they're starting to roll out these updates quicker. So I think every month would be a really good frequency to have to shake things up, even if it's a relatively small thing. A monthly update is fantastic in my opinion. Okay, so let's go down to the road ahead. Our team is committed to supporting Company of Heroes 3, and part of that support is building trust with our players and community. As mentioned above, we are reviewing and reassessing all our priorities for the game that are not already locked in for the June and July updates. You can see below that our development priorities roadmap has been adapted to reflect what content is coming, what is back on the table, and what has needed to shift. Sorry, guys. So, okay. In my opinion, this is fantastic because if you look at this roadmap, everything is on target for June 6th that we've already discussed, right? So we have the new 3v3 co-op map we already know about, all the multiplayer quality of life changes like the player names, additional team color changes, everything we saw in the last preview that they showcased. We have audio improvements that we saw to several different units and weapons. We have the camera zoom distance change, which I'm most excited about, where you're going to be able to zoom out a little bit farther to micro and macro manage your army better. I think this is a very, very good change that we're seeing pretty early on in the game's life cycle. Changes to planes and loiters, so they're going to standardize a lot of the flight system, the time from activating an ability to the time when the plane actually enables the ability on the battlefield. So that's all going to be standardized timings across each faction. Mod tool improvements, which we need, and then bug fixes, which are very important. So that's coming soon in the next week. That's Brass Leopard. Coming next in July is Emerald Bear. So this is the first time we're hearing about Emerald Bear, which I like. I don't necessarily like the name. I mean, just the update in general. But okay, targeted for July, we have a new 4v4 PvP map. Thank you. This is awesome. So this is coming, guys, in literally like 4 to 6 weeks, I'm assuming. So if that's the case, and they say, it's on target, this is great news. We're going to get an additional 3v3 PvP map as well. This is huge. This is really what I want to see. Balance changes. So unlike Brass Leopard, which is a quality of life update, Emerald Bear is going to be a balance update primarily with new maps, improvements to player profiles, player rank and display improvements, so some more UI improvements that are much needed. Currently, we just have the bare minimum, so anything added to these player profiles and ranks is an improvement. Bug fixes, and then we have some Italian dynamic campaign map improvements, progression, further AI and loyalty tuning, invite flow and party invitation improvements. Yeah, so I feel like the invite flow and party invitation system for PC is more tuned for console. The way it was designed, it looks very much like a console UI, which is fine. The console UI works well for consoles, but for PC, I think it could be more intuitive. And I would like to see some changes to that. So I'm happy to see that coming in July. And then this is what they alluded to in the preface to this roadmap, and that's reviewing priorities. So they said that they can't implement any of these reviewing priorities in Emerald Bear, but what they want to do is take a hard look at what the community truly wants and reprioritize some of the development. So let's take a look at this. Community maps. Now, this is something that the community has been asking for across the board, from players to content creators. I think everyone would really like to see community-made maps. They're very well-designed maps. There's some great ones out there, some great map makers. And it's great to see Relic saying, okay, we're going to take a look at this. This is hotly requested, and we're going to potentially prioritize this in a update this year, hopefully in the next few months. I would love to see some community maps for every game mode. Okay, replay feature. Yep. Okay. I mean, there's not much to say about this. This should be released already. We should have replays. I don't know how difficult this really is. I can't imagine it's that difficult, but they should prioritize replays, especially for content creators and new players looking to review their games. Okay, balance updates. So that's very general and very vague. We don't know what that means in terms of priorities. Vote to surrender feature. So if anyone knows, and many of you guys know this already, but for any new players, in the previous Company of Heroes games, on the bottom left-hand corner around the minimap, there was a little surrender button in the form of a little white flag. You could click on that flag and you can vote to surrender with your team if you're really losing bad instead of quitting. It's a better way to end a game, right? Instead of just dropping from the game and leaving your teammates stranded and outnumbered. So it's a great feature that we would like to see in the game. And then additional multiplayer maps and additional content. Very vague here, but I think balance updates, additional multiplayer maps, and the replay feature and community map, all this stuff is stuff the community really wants and has been asking for since day one. So I think what Relic is saying here is they basically want to reassess this as a priority. And I hope this content here will come after Emerald Bear. And I would really like to see that, because this stuff should be prioritized. So guys, that's everything in terms of the June and July release. As you can see on screen, they noted here it's subject to change, but I really like the overall sentiment. What I'm hearing from Relic, they're actively listening and willing to shift and adjust, right? As they said, Emerald Bear and Brass Leopard are already past the stage of changing, but they want to reassess the community priorities for the following update, which is fantastic because that's August, September, right? And that's exciting for me personally. So in conclusion, they state here, there are a lot of topics on the table right now and plenty of conversations for our team to have. Those include, in no order of priority, additional multiplayer maps, a replay feature, vote to surrender, additional balance updates, planning for additional content, and when we could integrate community-made maps to the game. We are also working on a longer-term roadmap to share with all of you, which will include the descriptions of planned content and target dates. We are aiming to release this roadmap shortly after the July 1.2.0 PC update. This overview is just the beginning, and we understand it does not cover every concern that the community has raised. What hasn't changed is our team's commitment to supporting Company of Heroes 3 and continuing to improve the experience for all of our players. Thank you again for your kind messages and continued support as we focus on the road ahead. Join us tomorrow to welcome our new console fans to the community and get ready for next week's Brass Leopard PC update. All right, guys. So in closing, I know Relic has taken a lot of heat over the past few months, and a lot of it is deserved, right? A lot of it is because the game has not met expectations, and they even stated in the beginning of this article that it hasn't met the community or their Relic's expectations, right? I think we both understand as a community and as a development team what the game truly needs to succeed and how it needs to live up to the franchise's standard, right? And I just want to say that, regardless of the reasons for this lackluster release of the game, the potential of the game, the fundamental components of the game are absolutely there. And I think I'm not going to go into deep speculation because I have a ton of ideas on why the game never met expectations and why it was released perhaps a little bit too early. I could speculate on all those things, from Sega, from Relic, from even looking at the past 3 years in regards to remote work. I could get into all of that, and it's just speculation because I don't know. And all I do know is this, and I'll speak for myself and for many players. I hope this rings true for you as well. But if it wasn't for Company of Heroes, and I've said this before, I would not be gaming anywhere near as much as I do, right? I only play Company of Heroes. That's 99% of my gameplay time between, a busy work schedule, is just Company of Heroes. I wouldn't be playing and gaming, and I wouldn't be creating content if it wasn't for this franchise that has brought me and my friends and family some of the most competitive, dynamic, fun team gameplay that you'll ever find in a strategy game. The strategy genre has been through a lot in the last 20 years, 2 decades. Relic has struggled over the past couple decades through ups and downs. After the release of Company of Heroes 1, it's sort of that was like the peak, and they've sort of been on a downtrend ever since. And they're continuing to put out this game and try to build the best strategy game they can. And so for me, as a content creator, as a player, as a fan, I want to support them as much as I can. And I see a company who's actively listening, who has taken a big hit, but is really trying now to reorient themselves, despite the fact that they just took a huge 25-30% hit to their team. They're dedicated to the franchise and they want to make things right. And we have a choice, and it's very simple. We could support them or not, and I really want to support them as much as I can because I see the potential in the game. I don't think the game is too far gone to be saved. I think the game absolutely has a tremendous amount of potential, and more potential than KO2 ever had. And I think it's just going to take some time. And if they're quick to prioritize, and I think my impression reading through this and seeing Relic's overall sentiment, the feeling that I get is that Relic knows how important this franchise is for not only the health of the community, but the health of the company. They could have another game in development, and I'm sure they do have another game or creative project in development. But Company of Heroes, to me, is synonymous with Relic in the sense that if Company of Heroes completely goes down, I don't think Relic survives. And that's speculation on my end. But I think that's how important the game is to Relic. And I only say that not to spite them, but to say that they really care about the game and they know how important it is, and they want to make things right because I think they're passionate about the game as well. Of course, they've been through a lot, and it might not seem like they've been actively listening to the community, but reading this and looking at this roadmap, I see a company that is aware and willing to change and improve. And so hats off to Relic, to the team that was cut, I believe 121 employees. I just want to thank the team that invested in Company of Heroes over the past 15, 20 years, whatever it's been, since 2006. I just want to say thank you to that team who put hours and hours and hours into making this franchise everything that it is. And I don't know how many developers were from the Age of Empires team and how many were from the KO team, but regardless, employees who've been with Relic for a long time were cut, and that's never a good thing. So just want to say thank you to those devs, and I'm very hopeful for the future of KO 3. I think it's still going to take throughout the course of this year. I think by Q1 next year, we're going to have a much different conversation. And the Sarge Squad community, you guys are super positive. There's not a lot of you guys that are super negative. I think a lot of you guys that are negative are solely negative because you love the game and you want to see it succeed, not because you're toxic and you just want to see the game crash and burn, right? That's not the case. I think a lot of the co-players that may seem toxic or super negative in Reddit, it's because they love the game, not because they want to see the game crash and burn, right? And the game is not too far gone. I think Relic can pivot from here. They're consolidating, they're reprioritizing, as we've seen in this post, and I think the best days are ahead of us. It's only up from here, to be honest, right? And I'm excited because just thinking about the future of the game, expansions, new units, new battle groups, new content, new maps, it's like this game is going to be fantastic in just a year's time. So I can't wait to see what the future holds, and maybe new factions. I don't know. Maybe in 2 years, guys, we're going to get 2 more factions, another Axis and Allied faction. And just that alone, thinking about what this game is going to be when the meta is developed, when there's more units, battle groups, maybe factions, I don't know. There's so much to make for dynamic, multiplayer gameplay. So, guys, that's going to wrap up this video on this roadmap. I would love to hear your opinions, comments. Let me know how you feel, what you think about Relic's post, the overall sentiment. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. It goes a long way in supporting the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.